The rain had just stopped when Alex packed up his toolbox. It had been a long day of fixing leaky faucets, broken door locks, and flickering street lights, and he was ready to finally head home. The sunset had painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, and a cool breeze hinted that night was coming. He wiped his hands on his worn-out jeans and took a deep breath, savoring the rare moment of quiet. Just as he was about to climb into his truck, his phone buzzed. The screen lit up with an unknown number. "Hello?" he answered, trying to keep the exhaustion out of his voice. "Hi, is this Alex?" The voice was soft but firm, polite yet somehow commanding attention. "Yes, this is Alex. Who's calling?" "My name is Dr. Celine Varro," the voice replied. I need some help with a garage light. It's been flickering and I'm not sure what's wrong. Could you come tonight?" Alex frowned. He usually didn't take calls after dark, but something in her tone made him pause. There was a sense of urgency, but it wasn't panic. It was curiosity. "I can come," he said, thinking he could make it quick and be back home before midnight. "Where do you live?" She gave him the address. When Alex heard it, he realized it was a quiet part of town, almost on the edge of the suburbs. A few houses around, but nothing much. He shrugged and loaded his toolbox into the truck. The drive was longer than he expected. Streetlights blinked lazily above him as the roads twisted through small neighborhoods. He passed dark, quiet parks and empty sidewalks. When he arrived, a large house stood at the end of a narrow street. Its design was simple but elegant, with tall windows that reflected the dim evening sky. Alex parked and walked up to the front door. It opened before he could even knock. "Hello, Alex," Dr. Varro said, her presence calm but strange. She looked older than her voice suggested, maybe in her mid-40s, but her eyes were sharp, curious, almost studying him. "Thank you for coming so quickly." "It's no problem," Alex said, smiling politely. "Just a light, right?" "Yes, the garage light, but would you mind staying for a while after you fix it?" Her words were quiet, almost hesitant. Alex blinked. "Stay? For what?" She gave him a faint smile, the kind that didn't answer the question but suggested there was more going on than she was telling. "Just for a little while. I think you might find it interesting." Alex felt a twinge of curiosity mixed with caution. Staying after fixing a light was unusual, but something about her made him want to see what she meant. He set down his toolbox. The garage door was large and metallic, slightly worn but sturdy. As Alex stepped inside, he immediately noticed something odd. The light flickered violently, though the bulb looked fine. But more than that, there was a subtle shimmer in the air, almost like heat waves rising from a hot road, but cold to the touch. He knelt to inspect the wiring. Everything seemed normal. The wires were intact, the switch worked, the bulb was fine. But the flickering didn't stop. He pulled out his small handheld multimeter and scanned the circuit. The readings jumped unpredictably, spiking in ways he had never seen. "What exactly is happening?" he asked, looking up at Dr. Varro. She hesitated. "I'm not entirely sure. It's not a normal electrical problem. I need someone who can think outside the box." Alex raised an eyebrow. He was used to fixing normal household problems, but this sounded different. Still, he had a reputation for figuring out the unusual. Humans were good at improvising, he thought, and maybe that's what she needed. He grabbed a few tools and started testing connections, but nothing seemed to solve the flickering. As he worked, he noticed small details. The way shadows moved oddly along the walls, the faint hum in the air, and a subtle vibration under his feet. Nothing in the manual explained it. "Have you tried replacing the bulb?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "Yes, multiple times. It's not the bulb, it's something else. I thought you might see it," she said. Alex nodded slowly. Humans were curious creatures, always noticing patterns machines could miss. He crouched near the bulb, observing how the light flickered. His hands moved instinctively, adjusting wires, checking connections, testing for energy flow. There was a rhythm to it, almost like a dance. "You know," he said after a moment, "whatever is causing this, it's not just electrical. There's some interference, something unusual in the energy flow." Dr. Varro's eyes lit up. "Exactly. That's why I asked you to stay. I think you can help me understand it." Alex paused. This wasn't what he expected when he agreed to fix a light. But something about the challenge thrilled him. Humans had a natural curiosity, a drive to solve problems even when they seemed impossible. He felt that drive now, rising stronger than tiredness or fear. He worked quietly, carefully adjusting the wiring, rerouting circuits, testing responses. Slowly, the flickering changed. The light no longer jumped violently, but it pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Alex stepped back, frowning. He had never seen anything like it. "See?" Dr. Varro said softly. "It's not just a light. It's something more." Alex turned to her, intrigued. "Something more? Like what?" She hesitated again, looking almost embarrassed by the mystery. "I can't explain fully yet. But there's energy here that doesn't belong to this world." Alex blinked. He had repaired plenty of things in his life, but this was different. The air felt charged, alive in a way he couldn't name, and somehow he felt ready for it. Humans were resilient. Humans were curious. Humans could adapt. That was what set them apart. "All right," he said finally, a small smile forming on his face. "I'll stay. Let's see what's really going on here." Dr. Varro nodded, relief and excitement in her eyes. She led him to a corner of the garage where a strange device sat on a workbench. It was unlike anything Alex had seen before, metallic, sleek, with wires that seemed to hum with energy and tiny lights that blinked in patterns almost alive. "This is what I've been working on," she said, "and I think you might be able to help me stabilize it." Alex looked at the device and then back at her. His heart raced, not with fear, but with the thrill of discovery. Humans were meant for moments like this, unexpected challenges, mysteries to solve, problems that required imagination and courage. He set his toolbox down again, rolling up his sleeves. "Let's take a closer look." As he leaned over the device, adjusting a few wires and testing connections, he realized one thing clearly. Tonight would not be like any other night. This wasn't just a light to fix. This was something far bigger, something that might challenge everything he thought he knew. And somehow, he was ready. The garage light flickered one last time, then glowed steadily, almost like it was watching him, waiting. Alex smiled to himself. Humans always found a way, he thought. And tonight, he would prove it again. The rain had stopped, the night had deepened, and somewhere in the quiet suburbs, a human mind was about to face the extraordinary. The steady glow of the garage light felt almost comforting after the wild flickers that had danced moments ago. Alex wiped his hands on a rag, looking at the device on the workbench. It was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Small tubes ran along its metallic frame, pulsing with a soft blue light, while thin wires coiled in patterns that seemed too precise to be random. Tiny digital readouts blinked numbers and symbols he didn't fully understand. Dr. Varro stood beside him, her fingers lightly brushing the edge of the device. "I've been trying to stabilize this for months," she said softly. "No one else has been able to figure it out, but I think you might." Alex raised an eyebrow, trying to hide the excitement bubbling inside him. Humans were meant to tackle problems like this, Machines followed instructions. AI followed rules. But humans? Humans had intuition, creativity, and imagination. That was their greatest strength. "Why a garage light, though?" Alex asked. "You could have asked anyone to fix it." She smiled faintly, almost shyly. "Because the light is connected to the device. It's a part of the experiment. And I need someone who can think logically but also notice things others might ignore." Alex crouched to examine the wires again. They were neatly arranged, but their patterns were strange, almost organic. He traced the path of a glowing cable and noticed how the light inside it pulsed faster whenever he moved his hand nearby. Something about it responded to motion, to presence. "Interesting," he muttered. "It's like it senses us, like it's alive." Dr. Varro nodded. "In a way, it is. This device is meant to interact with energy that doesn't normally exist here. It's difficult to describe, but I think it might open a doorway, a very small one. If we aren't careful, it could get out of control." Alex's curiosity piqued even more. Humans were explorers at heart. When faced with the unknown, they adapted, studied, and overcame. This was exactly the kind of challenge he lived for. He carefully lifted a panel on the side of the device. Inside, a small mechanism rotated slowly, humming with a rhythm that almost felt like a heartbeat. Sparks of blue energy flickered along the edges. Alex felt a tingling sensation on his skin, but it was not painful, just strange, like standing near a quiet storm. "Have you tested this before?" he asked. "Only briefly," Dr. Varro admitted. "Every time I try, the device reacts unpredictably. Sometimes it stabilizes. Sometimes it pulses violently, like tonight." Alex nodded. "All right. We need to understand how it works first. I'll run a few checks." He picked up his scanner, the small device he always carried for unusual problems. It could measure electricity, magnetic fields, and other energy patterns. When he moved it near the device, the readings spiked in ways that didn't make sense. The numbers jumped randomly, then settled, then jumped again. "Definitely not a normal electrical system," Alex said, frowning. "This is something else." Dr. Varro stepped closer, lowering her voice. "It's not something else. It's energy from somewhere else. I don't know exactly where, but it doesn't belong here. And it's reactive. It responds to thought, to attention, even emotion." Alex paused. He had repaired countless electrical devices, machines, and circuits. None of them had ever reacted like this. But he smiled inwardly. Humans had something machines did not. Intuition. He could sense patterns, anticipate reactions, and experiment carefully without fear of breaking something that couldn't be fixed. He touched one of the glowing wires. The pulse quickened, responding to his hand. Alex stepped back slightly, eyes wide. "It reacts to me," he said. "I can influence it." Dr. Varro's eyes gleamed. "Exactly. That's why I needed you. Machines can't do this. Only humans can interact with this energy safely. You have the right kind of mind." Alex laughed softly. "Well, that's a first. Usually people just pay me to fix broken lights." She smiled faintly. "Sometimes the smallest problems lead to the biggest discoveries." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He crouched again, examining the panel more closely. The mechanism inside rotated slowly, almost hypnotically. Tiny sparks leapt from one coil to another, forming patterns he couldn't quite predict. But with his human intuition, he began noticing sequences, repetitions, and subtle cues. Hours passed, though Alex wasn't aware of the time. He adjusted wires, reconnected circuits, and experimented with small changes, carefully observing the results. Every time he moved something, the device responded. The garage seemed alive with soft hums, glowing light, and a faint vibration that made the floor under his feet feel warm. Dr. Varro watched him work, her expression a mix of admiration and disbelief. "You adapt so quickly," she said. "I've spent years on this, and you just understand it instinctively." Alex shrugged. "Humans are pretty good at noticing patterns. It's why we survive. We notice what matters, and we figure out how to work with it." The device pulsed stronger. Sparks of blue energy arced toward the ceiling and dissolved into the air. Alex carefully guided them back along the wiring. The flickering light above stabilized, glowing steadily, but the device was still alive, throbbing with power. "Careful," Dr. Varro warned. "If the energy gets too strong, it could overload and damage everything. Or worse." Alex nodded. He adjusted a dial gently, holding his hand steady. The energy slowed, the pulses aligning with the rhythm he had observed. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but he didn't mind. Humans were resilient. They could work for hours in difficult conditions, driven by curiosity, ingenuity, and the thrill of discovery. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the device settled. The soft hum became steady, and the faint blue glow from its coils dimmed to a gentle shine. The garage light above burned evenly without a flicker. Alex exhaled, leaning back against the workbench. "It's stable," he said, almost in disbelief. Dr. Varro walked over, her face lighting up. "You did it! You actually stabilized it!" She reached out to touch the device, but Alex held up a hand. "Not yet," he said carefully. "It's stable, but it's not finished. I can feel it. It's still alive. It's just calm for now. We need to monitor it." She nodded. "Of course, I've never seen anyone interact with it like this. You're different. Human intuition. That's what I've been missing." Alex smiled faintly. Humans had always adapted to challenges. From survival in harsh landscapes to innovation in cities, humans could thrive anywhere. This device, strange as it was, responded to his curiosity, creativity, and problem-solving instincts. "All right," he said, standing. "We'll watch it for a while. But I want to understand where this energy is coming from. And maybe, just maybe, see what it can do." Dr. Varro nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "I think you're ready for that. But it might be surprising, and it might be dangerous." Alex laughed softly. "Surprise and danger are part of the fun. Humans thrive on challenges. That's what makes us, well, human." She smiled, a mixture of pride and wonder. "Yes, that's exactly why I asked you to stay tonight. You're not just fixing a garage light, you're helping me explore something far bigger than either of us." Alex looked at the device again. The soft hum and gentle glow seemed almost alive, almost as if it was aware of their attention. He felt a rush of excitement and awe. Humans were explorers, inventors, problem solvers. They could face the unknown and find a way through. And tonight, in this quiet suburban garage, Alex knew that he was about to face the unknown, and humans, as always, would find a way. The garage light shone steadily, but the device hummed softly, hinting at mysteries still waiting to be discovered. Alex smiled to himself. Whatever this energy was, wherever it came from, humans would face it, and humans would prevail. The night outside grew darker, but inside the garage, a quiet pulse of light and life continued. Alex and Dr. Varro stood side by side, ready for the next step, their curiosity driving them forward. The hidden experiment had begun. The garage was quiet now, but the air vibrated with a subtle energy that made Alex's skin tingle. The device on the workbench hummed softly, glowing like a heart beating in slow rhythm. Alex stepped back and studied it carefully, feeling the thrill of curiosity and the challenge ahead. Humans had a way of noticing patterns that no machine could predict, and he was about to prove it once again. Dr. Varro stood nearby, her fingers lightly tracing the edge of the workbench. "I've never seen anyone interact with it like you do," she said. "Most people would panic if it pulsed like that, but you observe, you think, you adapt." Alex smiled faintly. "That's what humans do. We notice what matters. We try, we fail, and we try again until it works. That's why we survive. That's why we're still here, even when everything seems impossible." The device pulsed again, faster this time. Sparks of blue energy flickered along the coils, and the soft hum became a low vibration that seemed to fill the entire garage. Alex stepped closer, crouching near the device. His eyes scanned the wiring and patterns carefully. The way the energy moved, it was almost alive, and he could feel it responding to his presence. "Careful," Dr. Varro warned, her voice quiet but tense. "It's unstable. Too much interference, and it could overload." Alex nodded. "I know, but I think I can guide it. Humans are adaptable. We can solve problems no AI, no machine, no rigid system can." He reached for a small dial on the device and rotated it slowly, feeling the vibration under his fingers. The energy pulsed in response, slightly weaker, but still alive. Sparks arced toward the ceiling, dissolving into the air without causing harm. He adjusted a few wires, testing the flow of energy. Every change he made caused the device to respond, almost like it was learning from him. Dr. Varro watched, eyes wide. "It's incredible. You're stabilizing it without even touching the main circuits. You're thinking in ways I never imagined possible." Alex chuckled softly. "Sometimes, you just have to pay attention. Humans are good at noticing details others ignore. We can adapt to patterns, even when the rules don't make sense." The device pulsed faster again. This time, the blue sparks arced more violently, and the humming grew louder, almost like a warning. Alex took a deep breath. He had faced unexpected challenges before, but nothing like this. Humans thrived on challenges. That was their strength. They could analyze, improvise, and survive in situations machines could never understand. He adjusted another dial carefully, watching the sparks. The energy slowed slightly, the pulsing becoming more regular. Alex could almost feel a rhythm forming, as if the device had a heartbeat, a life of its own. "This is amazing," Dr. Varro whispered. "I've never seen it respond like this. You're interacting with it." Alex nodded. "It's not just energy. It's a system that reacts to observation and thought. It responds to intuition, to pattern recognition. And humans, we're full of intuition." He carefully connected a small wire that had been loose. The device pulsed sharply, but Alex was ready. He held the wire steady, guiding the energy through its correct path. Sparks jumped along the coils but settled quickly. The humming became steady again, the blue glow soft but alive. "See," he said, "we can work with it. Humans can solve problems like this. Machines can't." Dr. Varro's eyes shone with excitement. I think we're ready for the next step." Alex looked at her, curious. "Next step? What do you mean?" She hesitated, then gestured to a small control panel beside the device. "This panel can amplify the energy. If we activate it, we might get a glimpse of where this energy comes from. But it's risky. The device might pulse violently again, or worse." Alex felt a thrill run through him. Humans face the unknown every day. They adapted, they solved problems, and they thrived in ways no machine could. This was exactly the kind of challenge that excited him. "All right," he said, determination in his voice. "Let's see what it can do." Dr. Varro guided him to the control panel. Small buttons and switches glowed softly. Alex studied them carefully. He didn't rush. Humans had a way of noticing patterns, sensing subtle connections. He flipped a switch, and the device pulsed once, softly, as if acknowledging his action. The blue sparks grew brighter, arcing along the coils like tiny lightning bolts. The air in the garage seemed charged, vibrating with energy. Alex held his hand steady, guiding the flow with careful adjustments. The device pulsed faster, then stabilized, and then it happened. A shimmering portal appeared above the device, small at first, like a rippling mirror. Alex stepped back, eyes wide. Through the portal he could see something extraordinary. It was a world unlike any he had imagined. Glowing plants swayed in the breeze, casting soft light across strange landscapes. Floating orbs of energy drifted lazily in the air, and distant shapes moved with intelligence. Machines, creatures, or perhaps both, interacting in ways Alex couldn't yet understand. Dr. Varro gasped. "It worked! It's a doorway! You did it!" Alex felt a rush of awe. Humans had always explored, always adapted. They faced the unknown and found a way to thrive. And now, here they were, witnessing something truly beyond imagination. He stepped closer to the portal, careful not to touch it. The energy responded to him, pulsing gently as he moved. Humans had intuition, creativity, and adaptability, qualities that allowed them to interact with the unknown safely. No machine could do this. "This is incredible," Alex whispered. "We can observe it, study it, learn from it, and humans can interact with it safely." Dr. Varro nodded. "Exactly. Most of the technology I've seen can't respond like this, but humans, we can adapt, we can improvise, and we can survive where others fail." Alex smiled. Humans had always been explorers, problem solvers, and survivors, and now they had the chance to interact with something entirely new, something beyond the limits of the world they knew. He studied the portal carefully, noticing patterns in the energy flow, subtle movements of light and shadow. His mind worked quickly, analyzing, predicting, and adjusting. The portal pulsed gently in response, as if acknowledging his understanding. "This energy, it's alive," he said. "It reacts to thought, to attention. We can interact with it safely if we're careful. That's why humans can do this." Dr. Varro smiled. "I've been studying this for years, but you did it instinctively. You understood the patterns. You adapted." Alex nodded. Humans had survived against impossible odds throughout history. They had explored deserts, oceans, and skies. They had created tools, machines, and civilizations. And tonight, in this quiet suburban garage, they were doing it again, interacting with energy from another world. The portal shimmered, casting blue and green light across the garage. Sparks of energy flickered gently along the device, now stable and responsive. Alex stepped closer, careful not to get too close, and extended a hand. The energy pulsed softly, responding to his presence. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We can learn from this. We can explore it. And humans will find a way." Dr. Varro nodded, her eyes shining. "Yes, that's why I asked you to stay tonight. You're not just fixing a light. You're helping us step into something new." Alex smiled faintly, feeling the thrill of discovery and the strength of human ingenuity. Humans had always faced the unknown and thrived, and tonight they were doing it again, in ways no one could predict. The garage was quiet, except for the soft hum of the device and the gentle pulse of the portal. Alex and Dr. Varro stood side by side, ready to observe, ready to learn, and ready to prove that humans could face the extraordinary and thrive. For the first time, Alex felt the full power of human adaptability. Curiosity, creativity, and courage had brought them here, and he knew that whatever came next, humans would meet it with the same determination that had carried them through history. The hidden experiment had revealed its first secret, and the adventure was just beginning. The shimmering portal above the device pulsed gently, casting waves of soft blue and green light across the garage. Alex stood a few feet away, eyes wide, taking in the incredible sight. Beyond the rippling energy lay a world unlike anything he had ever imagined. Glowing plants swayed in the breeze, reflecting light that seemed alive. Strange floating orbs drifted lazily through the air, and the shapes of intelligent machines moved deliberately in the distance, interacting with the environment and each other. "This is incredible," Alex whispered. "It's a whole world, and it's alive." Dr. Varro nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We can observe it, but we have to be careful. This energy is responsive. It reacts to attention, thought, even emotion." Alex took a cautious step closer. The portal pulsed in response, gentle waves of energy rippling outward. It was as if the world beyond was aware of him, sensing his presence. Humans had always thrived where others failed, he thought. They could adapt, improvise, and interact with unknown systems in ways machines could never manage, and right now, his human intuition was their greatest advantage. He held out his hand slightly. The energy responded, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Alex smiled faintly. Humans had always found patterns in chaos, ways to communicate where no one else could. Maybe that's what this energy was waiting for, a pattern it could understand, a connection it could respond to. Dr. Varro leaned closer, whispering, "It's trying to communicate. I think it recognizes us." Alex nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the portal. The floating shapes moved closer, light rippling along their forms. They weren't machines in the traditional sense, nor were they living creatures as humans knew them. They existed in a space between intelligent and aware, responding to thought and presence rather than voice or gesture. He thought carefully, sending a simple intention toward them. "We mean no harm." The energy pulsed, brighter this time, and one of the shapes floated closer, almost cautiously. Alex adjusted his stance, moving slowly, careful not to provoke it. The pulse of light followed him, as if acknowledging his thought. Dr. Varro's eyes widened. "You're communicating somehow. It's responding to thought. You're interacting with it safely." Alex nodded, fascination mixing with exhilaration. Humans had always survived the unknown. They had faced harsh deserts, deep oceans, and endless storms. And now, here they were, interacting with energy from another world. Humans adapted to patterns, and that adaptability was allowing them to connect. He moved his hand again, a small, deliberate motion. The floating orb mirrored the movement, following his gesture with smooth precision. Alex laughed softly, a mixture of relief and awe. "It's learning from me, or maybe recognizing the patterns we share. Humans notice connections others can't. That's why we survive. That's why we adapt." Dr. Varro watched closely, almost unable to believe it. "I've studied this energy for years. Machines and instruments could never interact with it safely, but you're doing it instinctively. Your mind adapts to the patterns. You understand in ways I never imagined." Alex crouched slightly, observing the interaction. He realized that the energy was not just intelligent, but curious. It pulsed brighter when he focused on it, dimmed when he looked away. Humans had a natural intuition about the world, he thought. They could sense patterns, respond creatively, and improvise in ways no machine could predict. And right now, that human ability was the key to understanding this otherworldly energy. The floating shapes moved closer, forming a ring of light and energy around the portal. Alex noticed subtle shifts in color and pattern, almost like language, though he didn't understand the syntax. But he could feel meaning in the rhythm of the pulses, a communication through pattern recognition rather than words. "This is A first, Dr. Varro whispered. No human has interacted directly with this energy. Most attempts failed. Most were too rigid, too logical. But you're connecting. You're adapting. Alex smiled faintly. Humans do that. We improvise. We notice patterns. And we survive where others fail. He stepped closer to the portal, carefully extending his hand. The energy responded instantly, pulsing in a wave that swept across the garage. Alex felt it in his chest, a strange resonance that was both exhilarating and calming. The shapes shifted, forming patterns that seemed almost deliberate. They were testing him, probing his intentions, sensing whether humans could be trusted. Dr. Varro reached out to steady him. Be careful. It's learning from you. Don't provoke it. Alex nodded. He concentrated on the simplest thought he could. We are curious. We are observers. We do not intend harm. The energy pulsed stronger, brighter. One of the floating shapes drifted through the portal toward him, a gentle wave of light brushing his hand. It was a touch without weight, a connection without words. It's acknowledging us, Dr. Varro said softly. It recognizes your mind, your intuition. Alex felt a surge of pride and wonder. Humans had survived and thrived in impossible situations because they could adapt, improvise, and connect. They noticed patterns, solved problems, and navigated chaos. And right now, that same ability allowed them to interact with something beyond comprehension, something alien and extraordinary. He experimented carefully, moving his hand in simple gestures. The energy mirrored his movements, responding with pulsing waves of light. The floating shapes circled him, observing, interacting, almost teaching him the rhythm of their world. Humans had always learned through observation and experience, and that skill was allowing him to understand this energy in ways machines could not. Dr. Varro leaned closer, her voice barely a whisper. You're teaching it, and it's teaching you. It's a two-way communication. Humans have always survived because we adapt, and now it's proving true here. Alex nodded slowly. He could feel the rhythm of the energy, a heartbeat that matched the pulse of human curiosity and intuition. This wasn't just observation, it was interaction, connection, understanding, and it was happening because humans could adapt in real time, improvise when rules failed, and recognize patterns others would miss. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The energy shifted and moved around the portal, responding to their presence, guiding them through patterns of light and movement. Alex realized that this was more than just a portal. It was a bridge, a first step toward understanding something entirely new, something beyond human imagination. We can learn from this, he whispered. We can explore it. And humans will adapt and thrive. That's what we do. Dr. Varro nodded, her eyes shining with awe. Yes, humans notice what others overlook. Humans survive, adapt, and explore. You're proving it now. Alex smiled faintly. The energy pulsed softly, brushing against his hand again. Humans had always faced the unknown and found a way. And tonight, in this quiet garage, humans were doing it again, interacting with an entirely new form of intelligence, safely, intuitively, and successfully. The portal shimmered, glowing steadily now, a bridge between two worlds. Alex and Dr. Varro stood side by side, observing, learning, and proving that humans could thrive even in the face of the unimaginable. This is just the beginning, Alex said softly. We'll learn more. We'll understand. And humans will find a way to thrive here too. Dr. Varro smiled, a mixture of pride and hope. Yes, and you're the first human to do it. You're showing what we can accomplish when we combine observation, intuition, and courage. Alex nodded, feeling the truth of her words. Humans had always survived, always adapted, always explored. And now, here they were, stepping into a new world, interacting with energy and intelligence beyond imagination. The first contact had been made, and humanity, as always, was proving its ability to thrive, adapt, and explore the unknown. The garage was quiet except for the soft hum of the device and the gentle pulse of the portal. Alex and Dr. Varro stood ready, aware that the adventure had only just begun. Humans had made the first connection, and whatever came next, they were prepared. The hidden experiment had revealed its first secret, and humans, once again, were ready to face the extraordinary. The garage was alive with soft light and gentle hums, but Alex felt a calm focus settle over him. The portal above the device shimmered steadily, its blue and green waves reflecting in his eyes. For hours, he and Dr. Varro had interacted with the energy beyond, observing patterns, learning rhythms, and communicating without words. Each pulse of light, each responsive shift, felt like a dialogue, a connection that transcended language and physics. "Alex," Dr. Varro whispered, stepping close, "this is the closest humans have ever come to understanding this energy. What you've done, it's beyond what I imagined possible." Alex nodded, brushing a hand over the glowing surface of the workbench. Humans had always survived against impossible odds. They had crossed oceans, climbed mountains, built civilizations, and solved problems that seemed unsolvable. And now, standing in this quiet garage, he felt the same thrill that every explorer in history must have felt, the joy of discovering something entirely new. "It's incredible," he said softly. "Humans can adapt. We can observe, learn, and improvise. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. And now, we can even interact with worlds we don't fully understand." Dr. Varro smiled faintly. "Yes, machines follow rules. AI follows logic. But humans notice patterns, make connections, and solve problems no one else can. And tonight, that has made all the difference." Alex studied the portal again. The floating shapes of light and energy moved gently, almost as if they were watching him, responding to his movements. He reached out his hand slowly. The energy pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, responding to him in a way no machine ever could. Humans had intuition, creativity, and adaptability, the qualities that allowed them to survive, to thrive, and now to connect with something entirely alien. "It's stable," he said finally. "We've stabilized the device. We've interacted with the energy safely. And I think it's trying to teach us." Dr. Varro's eyes widened. "Teach us? What do you mean?" Alex pointed to the subtle pulses of light moving across the portal. "Look at the patterns. They're deliberate. They're responding to our gestures. They're showing us a rhythm, a way to understand the energy. It's like a language humans can sense intuitively." She nodded slowly, awe on her face. "Humans can understand what machines cannot. That's remarkable." For a long moment, they both stood quietly, observing the portal. Alex felt a strange mixture of excitement and reverence. This was more than discovery. This was proof that humans could thrive in situations beyond imagination. That no matter how strange or alien, human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage were enough to survive and succeed. "We should test the limits," Alex said after a pause. "See how far we can explore without causing instability. Humans thrive when we push boundaries. That's what we do." Dr. Varro hesitated, then nodded. "All right, but carefully. We don't know how much energy it can handle before it becomes dangerous." Alex adjusted a few wires and toggled a switch. The device pulsed, brighter this time, sending a wave of energy across the garage. The portal expanded slightly, giving a clearer view of the other world. Glowing flora stretched upward, casting soft light. The floating shapes moved closer, circling slowly, almost like they were guiding him. He stepped closer to the portal, careful not to touch it directly. Humans had a natural curiosity and adaptability that allowed them to interact with unknown systems safely. Machines could calculate, AI could predict, but only humans could improvise, notice subtle patterns, and respond instinctively. "This is a two-way connection," Dr. Varro said softly. "It's responding to our actions, teaching us and learning from us." Alex nodded. "Humans thrive on challenges. We notice what others ignore. We adapt. We find patterns where there is chaos. That's why we survive. That's why we can do this." The portal pulsed again, brightening and sending waves of energy across the garage. The floating shapes moved through the space, their forms shifting in response to Alex's gestures. He realized they were testing him, observing how humans reacted to unknown energy. And humans, by nature, thrived in such situations. He focused, extending his hands slowly, mirroring the rhythm of the energy. The portal responded instantly, pulsing in harmony with him. Alex could feel the resonance, a gentle vibration that seemed to connect the human mind to the alien energy. "This is amazing," Dr. Varro whispered. "You're proving what I've always believed. Humans can interact with patterns and energy no one else can. Machines could never do this. Only humans can." Alex smiled faintly. "That's why humans survive. That's why we adapt. And right now, we're thriving in the unknown." Hours passed as they carefully explored the portal, observing the world beyond, testing responses, and learning rhythms. Every movement of their hands, every shift in attention, was met with corresponding changes in the energy. Humans had a way of improvising, noticing patterns, and connecting intuitively that no artificial system could match. And tonight, that ability had allowed them to make first contact. Finally, the device pulsed one last time, glowing steadily and casting a calm light across the garage. The portal remained stable, its energy quiet but alive, as if acknowledging their success. Alex leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. Humans had always thrived in impossible situations. They had survived deserts, storms, and uncharted territories. And now, they had faced something entirely alien and emerged triumphant. "We did it," he said quietly. "We interacted safely. We learned. And humans proved themselves again." Dr. Varro nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "You've shown what humans can do. Observation, intuition, adaptability. That's what makes humans extraordinary. And tonight, you've proven it." Alex glanced at the portal one last time. The energy pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. It was alive, aware, and now at peace. Humans had made first contact. They had observed, adapted, and interacted. And they had done it without fear, without arrogance, only with curiosity, creativity, and courage. "This is just the beginning," Alex said. "We'll learn more. We'll explore. And humans will continue to thrive." Dr. Varro smiled. "Yes, humans survive and adapt where others fail. You've shown me that firsthand. This is only the first step." Alex nodded. He carefully powered down the amplification system, stabilizing the device. The portal remained open but quiet, a window to another world that humans could now observe and understand over time. The garage was silent except for the soft hum of the device. Alex and Dr. Varro stood side by side, reflecting on what had just happened. Humans had survived, adapted, and triumphed once again. Their curiosity, ingenuity, and courage had allowed them to face the unknown and interact safely with something entirely alien. Alex felt a surge of pride. Humans had always thrived in ways that defied expectation. They could innovate, adapt, and survive in situations that no machine, no algorithm, and no rigid system could handle. And tonight, They had proven it again. "We should record everything," Dr. Varro said. "Every pattern, every response. Humans need to understand this fully, and we need to prepare for what comes next." Alex nodded. "Absolutely. Humans observe, adapt, and thrive. That's how we've survived all this time. And that's how we'll continue." They worked together for a while longer, documenting responses, stabilizing the device, and ensuring the portal remained safe. The energy pulsed softly, almost like it was alive, but it no longer seemed dangerous. Humans had learned to work with it, to interact safely, and to understand the patterns. Finally, as the night deepened outside, Alex packed up his tools. The portal shimmered one last time before settling into a calm, gentle glow. Dr. Varro stood beside him, a sense of satisfaction and hope in her eyes. "You've changed everything tonight," she said softly. "Humans have made first contact, and you've proven what we can do." Alex smiled faintly. "Humans always find a way. We survive, we adapt, and when faced with the unknown, we thrive." He stepped toward the door, looking back one last time at the glowing device. The garage light shone steadily, the portal hummed softly, and beyond it, a world of light and energy waited to be understood. Humans had made their mark. They had observed, interacted, and triumphed. And in the quiet suburbs, a human mind had once again proven that curiosity, ingenuity, and courage were enough to face even the most extraordinary challenges. Alex climbed into his truck, the cool night air brushing against his face. The adventure was far from over, but humans had shown what they were capable of. They could survive, adapt, and thrive, even when confronted with the impossible. The hidden experiment had reached its first conclusion. Humans had triumphed. And somewhere, beyond the portal, a new world waited, ready for human ingenuity to explore, understand, and connect. The night was quiet, but in that quiet, a promise lingered. Humans, no matter the challenge, would always find a way.